I think it's kind of the same situation with myself why I ran. It's always the same cookie cutter. It's never anything different. I think now with the new superintendent, what I would suggest is we think outside the box. It doesn't always have to be the same type of candidate that's always there. Just like myself, I'm the only Latino American running and has ran in a while. We don't have anybody that's been a superintendent that I can really think of that thinks outside of the box. That's not the usual teacher or principal or something like that. We may have to do like some corporations do, where they need fresh blood to make the company run a little bit better. We may need to do the same thing with the position of superintendent. For myself, my platform is in two different parts for my school board member. So I would ask him two questions, actually, if that's okay. The first one would actually be, how are we going to make our teachers feel supported and counted? And then the second one, most parts of CMS, there's at least 40 to 50% in Latin American children, but the parents don't speak English. How are we going to help them when they come to the office and need help and there's nobody there that can translate for them? They need to feel supported. A lot of teachers, for example, my daughter, her teacher last year, it was her first year of being a teacher and she already quit. She went to work at a call center, which pays her commission because she wasn't feeling valued, and two, there wasn't enough of an income for her to take care of her family. I know for a fact, just in Mecklenburg County, over 100 different teachers were basically recruited from Colorado and Texas for them to go there by giving them support that they're looking for and also giving them money that they can actually live off of. I think what we need to do as school board members, find out where we can remove some money that's not needed and then play it and apply it to the teachers so that they don't have to come out of pocket for supplies. They don't have to come out of pocket to, take care of some of the children that may not be able to get all the supplies. And the other parents don't want to really contribute to the other kids. They want to take care of just their children. So I think we need to find a place where we can financially help the teachers a little more, but then mostly they need support in the classroom. They need to know that whatever happens, if they send home a note, your student isn't doing this, the student isn't doing that, don't blow up on the teacher. They're not doing it just to make it up. They're not just picking on kids. That's not what they got into this for. They're here to help. So we have to understand that when the teachers bring some home, good or bad notes, it's for constructive criticism to help them build them into better students. Part of the culture is they don't feel safe in some areas, and when they feel safe, it's not always an outside influence, it's the inside influence. They don't feel safe because, again, they don't feel supported by the staff, they don't feel supported by the principal, they don't feel safe from the students. Sometimes they can't even relate to some of the students. I think another big problem is cell phones in the classroom. I don't think they need to be in the classroom either. That would actually give teachers the able to control the classroom instead of kids trying to control TikTok. So I think the culture changes depending on where they can go, not to make their jobs easier, but that they can feel valued for what they're trying to do. I can't blame them for moving somewhere that is going to make their job not easier, but actually appreciated. One of the things that I thought about was I sat down and started thinking about different programs. When you're a business owner, your whole business is to find solutions to problems. If you find a solution to a problem, you can basically take care of things. So my thought process was, I created a program called DOD, Dads on Duty. There's dads like myself that are business owners that have the available time. And it plays a couple of roles. It also helps the teachers out. In the mornings, I see teachers scrambling to get kids out of the car and then get them in the classroom. And then they have to scramble to the classroom and get prepared. If we can have these dads volunteer their times that have been vetted, that they're around, they can be around children, they help to get the kids out of the cars. Not to diminish anything that moms do, but when dad shows up, it's a whole different atmosphere. That dad voice and that dad saying good job and get ready to go and stuff like that really pumps up the children, but then they also feel secure. So if we could get the dads to come out there and volunteer their time, get them out of the school, and then also monitor the hallways. If I have the available time and the school lets me do it, I don't mind wearing my mask and I'll walk around, make sure the doors are locked, make sure everybody's safe. Personally, if I knew my dad was walking around the hallways, I'm gonna behave. I'm not gonna really act up either. So it plays a couple of different roles, and then on the same end, it gives the teachers time to get the classroom ready in the morning instead of trying to rush from the cars to the classroom. They may not have even eaten breakfast. They're just at a hustle and bustle. So the safety aspect is dads on duty are basically doing that. They're protecting their children, they're protecting the school, and at the same time, they're giving an atmosphere of you better pay attention because it might be your dad walking the hallway tomorrow. When I was in school, if that was me, I would have been like, man, I wonder what day my dad's going to show up. And my dad was a tall, special forces army. I didn't want nothing. And it wasn't anything about, punishment or spankings or nothing. Dads just have a voice, and some children unfortunately don't have that aspect in their home. But now you can get a dad that's going to give his time, and as soon as you get out of the car, you got a grown man saying, hey, you can do it today, have a great day, give them a pound, give them a dap, whatever it is, and they go right into the classroom. They feel better, and they're less likely to be agitated, upset, or anything like that. And I think this would be a great program to add. Part of it starts at home. The parents have to actually step up and be like, I need to make sure that my child doesn't have a gun in their book bag. Go through their stuff before they leave the school, before they leave the house. My daughter, I make sure her book bag, everything's signed, her lunch is in there. I look through her book bag, inside there's some papers. Sometimes the parents are such in a hurry to get to work, they're not paying attention to what the kids are taking with them. And that's a bad idea. So first start off at home. I think every school should have some kind of a police officer presence as well. If there is an active shooter situation, it's good to have a police officer on the campus that may be able to do something. As far as the children with guns, there's just too much access for it. And we have to find a way that we can limit that on the actual campus before they even come into the school with them. Again, I think part of that is at home. It starts with the mother, the father, whoever the actual adult figure is at home. You have to monitor what those children are bringing bringing to school from the home, because they didn't get it at school. They brought it into the school. So I think part of that is also the parents. That kind of comes into the funding. We don't have enough. If you don't have enough teachers to provide the coverage that's needed per student, so you think about it, if there's one teacher for every 30 students or 20 students, that's a lot of coverage. So somebody's falling through the cracks, unfortunately. So we need to have a little bit more funding. If the school board members can meet with city council to get more funding for the teachers so that we can get more teachers in the classroom, that would help the education grades, the overall stats. Because if you think about it, we will purchase more talent from other countries to come here to be scientists, to be rocket builders, to be engineers, to be everything like that. We will spend that money there. But if we just invested in our school system and invested in our teachers, we would grow our own talent at home with our children. But they're not getting what they need because there's not enough coverage. So we would rather spend money and import education and scientists and genius when we have it right at home. We're just not cultivating it. So I think we need to find a way that we can get the funding. If we can find funding for so many other things, we can find funding for sports and things like that, which I'm for sports. I think it's a great character builder, but if you can spend that much money on certain items that may be able to just kind of take a little bit more of a back seat, I think we should do that. I think the money needs to be allocated to where it's needed, which is the education part. The funny part about that is one of my daughters is in CMS and the other one is in a charter school. We actually removed her from the public school system in CMS because she was not making the grade. She was not getting the help she needed. She was not getting the coverage. Her classroom literally had 25 students for one teacher, and she was not getting the help that she needed. So when we moved her over to the charter school, there's 2 teachers to 15 students. She turned around her grades from being a D student to an A student. She turned into student council. She performed better because of the coverage. We're losing teachers in CMS, but some of them are going to charter schools because of the funding, because of the support system, because of the availability. In smaller classrooms, they can actually make a difference. They feel like they can do something with these students. What we have to do in CMS is make the teachers feel like they are the top of the pyramid. We have to make them understand that we're here to support them in and outside of the classroom. That means the parents helping out at home. I know it's hard if you're working one or two jobs to make everything ends meet. You can't help them with the homework, but you got to invest in your own children as well. You have to be able to help the teachers by helping out with the homework. Teachers are the secret sauce to making productive children and productive grades. If they feel secure, they feel supported, they feel that they have somebody's got their back, then these grades will go up. The kids will come out of the charter schools and come back to CMS because they're going to actually get what they need to succeed.